beautiful Friday morning here in Windhoek. A very warm welcome to our viewers and listeners. We are coming live from the Government Information Center studios. I am your host, Grace Cavey. As per norm, we are live on our social media pages, Facebook at Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, YouTube at MICT Namibia. Please be part of the conversation. Today we are discussing why it is necessary to amend the MVA Fund Act number 10 of 2007. And to share more on this, we are joined by Mr. Jethro Kwenani, Head Corporate Communication, Motor Vehicle Accident Fund. Mr. Kwenani, good morning and welcome to the Government Information Center studios.
Good morning and thank you so much for having me.
Let's get right into the conversation of the day. Mr. Kwenani, how does the current Act benefit those involved in accidents?
Well, the current Act benefits those involved in car crashes by being a benefit or providing benefits through various means such as a funeral grant to those that lose their lives in vehicle accidents, loss of support to those that were dependent on people that were lost in accidents, and further medical rehabilitation to those that survived vehicle crashes. And this was due to a change in 2007 from the fault-based system to one that actually seeks to rehabilitate those that survive crashes in Namibia so that they can regain independence and fulfill their lives in the Namibian society.
Okay. Mr. Kwenani, why did you see the need to amend this Act?
Well, amending the Act became crucial in terms of modernizing it as well as aligning with our current socio-economic landscape as well as the landscape in terms of the roads. Certain benefits just became a bit outdated. If I were to highlight one, for instance, the funeral grant currently pegged at $7,000 Namibian dollars. Back in 2007, $7,000 was quite a bit of money, but come 2025, it's not sufficient to assist or members of a family that have lost a loved one, even though it is a grant and not what would you call it, a funeral cover, but still we realize that in the current socio-economic landscape, it's an amount that really needs to be revised to answer to the challenges that we currently face as a nation.
Oh, okay. Mr. Kwenani, what are the proposed amendments to this Act?
Well, some of the proposed amendments, like I earlier highlighted, one being the funeral grant amendment, with a lot of the consultations that we had nationwide, figures like 30,000, 50,000 was being mentioned by members of the communities that we were visiting. Another key aspect is perhaps in terms of changing the distribution of the benefit from the Act into what is something that is at the remit of the minister. So because currently the benefits are tied to our Act and not necessarily something that the board or the minister has discretion from time to time to change. For example, if the 7,000 was not necessarily part of the Act, and it's something that the board could recommend for the minister to have a change. But unfortunately, this is not possible in the current structure of things. So benefits like the funeral grant, moving on, of course, the loss of income, loss of support, naturally, the world over, you'd assume that dependency is based on a nuclear family, where it's a mother, father, and their children. But in our context, for example, in Africa, we do realize that often it is extended family as well. Someone might have been the breadwinner to a grandmother, etc., etc. So getting all these modalities as part of the current Act so that it's simpler to administer these benefits is one of the reasons that we actually went out to all 14 regions to have consultations with our citizens to understand from the grassroots level exactly what needs to happen. And these are just some of the changes that need to be enacted. We did also extend via our website and other social media platforms for the general Namibian nation to submit in writing proposals towards the amendment, but we understand that some couldn't obviously have access to email and all of that, and that's why we went with the Law Reform Development Commission to all 40 regions to have engagements, because it's all about a conversation about making the MDA fund better for the Namibian nation.
Viewers and listeners, do stay tuned. We are going on a short commercial break.
Testing. 1, 2.
You know what, Ne? I cannot even hear him.
But everything is on.
I can't hear him. I can only hear these things, and I'm repeating myself in here. I can't hear him at all. I don't even know what to ask.
Okay.
I don't even know, where was I? Did I ask what does this amendment mean to the Namibians? I didn't ask that, Ne?
No.
Okay.
We spoke about.
We are back. Thank you for staying tuned in. Mr. Kwenani, what does this amendment mean to the Namibians?
Well, in terms of meaning to the Namibians, extending perhaps on some of the changes to the Act, we are looking at various revenue streams apart from, because currently it's only the 47 cents per litre from fuel, be it petrol or diesel, that is given to the MVA fund. So we're looking at additional revenue streams, this in the form of registration of foreign registered vehicles as well as electric vehicles, because it did become apparent that in Namibia we currently have over 100 electric vehicles, but the fact remains that when these vehicles are involved in accidents, the claimants or the people that survive these accidents, claimants from these accidents, they can come to the MBA fund and claim, where on the flip side is they're not necessarily contributors to the fund because they don't contribute to the fuel levy as they have electric vehicles. So these are just some of the avenues that we are looking at, perhaps having a levy for foreign registered vehicles as well as electric vehicles, just to better serve the Namibian nation. But from the conversations that we had issues like, especially in the northern regions, for example, what would happen with the Road Traffic and Transport Act, the limitation in terms of people you can load at the back of a pickup truck is 6. So in the event that there's an accident that occurs and there were more than 6 passengers at the back, we basically only pay 50% of the benefit to anyone that was above the number of 6. So this becomes a bit of a gray area because how do you decide who you are paying the full benefit to and who you're only paying 50% to? But the reality on the ground is in Namibia, especially rural Namibia, oftentimes people are transported in the back of pickups or bakkies as we call them, be it to funerals or soccer matches or other social events. And these are just some of the realities that we had conversations about with our people in Namibia, just to ensure that we are more adaptive to their needs and can respond better in terms of the benefits that are given to claimants. But within this, obviously, the conversation had to center around levies or alternative revenue streams, because we can increase the benefits, but where does that money come from? Because if you look at, for instance, medical benefits alone, annually the MVA fund spends over 200 million, which is a very high figure. And for us to increase any other benefits, it is important to have proper dialogue and conversations around issues of alternative revenue streams. But overall, the conversations we had with community members were quite impactful, and we extended, obviously, the written notifications to the amendment until the 15th of October, and we received quite a good number.
What are the main sentiments from these communities that you have visited?
Well, the main sentiment from most people was that they appreciate the consultation, because one doesn't just want to wake up and hear that the fuel levy has increased from 47 cents to $1 without necessarily understanding why. So it was quite important for us to have these conversations and also gauge from them to say that this is the current scenario. How do you see it getting better? For example, loss of support would be claimed by dependents of someone that was lost in a road crash. And this benefit was up to 100,000 Namibian dollars annually. And it was just to speak to the current needs. I mean, universities these days are quite pricey, but the MVA fund still ensures to get the dependents of those lost in crashes through varsity or technical education should they opt to do the TVET route. And these are just some of the discussions that we had. They were quite impactful, and we definitely look forward to the final drafting being submitted to Parliament and going to the National Assembly, obviously, for further deliberation, so that this act can finally come to being, let's say.
Mr. Konani, we are coming to the end of our conversation. I would like to ask you, the festive season is coming up. Any campaigns lined up for the road users?
Thank you very much. Well, the MVA Fund, as per norm, is embarking on the festive season road safety campaign. This will be the 20th year that the fund is involved in this initiative. This initiative brings together law enforcement and other road safety stakeholders within the Namibian nation. And just this morning, the MVA Fund was hosting a fundraising breakfast to bring together stakeholders in terms of raising funds for law enforcement, because our officers on the ground, law enforcement officials, need quite a bit of assistance and help in curbing road accidents. Annually, Namibia has lost well over 300 lives annually during the festive period, which usually stretches from the 15th of November to the 15th of January. And these numbers are a great concern to any Namibian. And it is important to bring this curve down to ensure that we start having festive seasons with zero road fatalities.
Okay. Mr. Konani, your parting words before we conclude this conversation?
Well, as a parting message, I would perhaps just want to share that it is important for each and every citizen in Namibia, any road user, to save the MVA Fund's accident response number. That is 9682. In the event of any road crash on Namibian roads, you contact this number and our call center will be able to dispatch the correct services, be it ambulance and police, to any location within the borders of Namibia to provide timely and needed assistance to road users that are involved in road crashes. And it's important to save this number. It is the difference between life and death. That is 9682. Thank you.
Mr. Konani, thank you so much for gracing our studios and for giving us this information on the amendment of the current act.
Thank you, ma'am.
Namibia, that is all we had for you this morning. Please do stay tuned for more sessions that are coming up. Thank you.